President. Mr. President, are you worried about the purges in Korea?
What is your message to South Korea?
Are you worried
Mr.
about the
President?
purges in Korea, please?
What is your message to South
Are you
Korea?
worried about Korea, about purges in South Korea? You said you are... How about the meeting? I know about the didn't say about purges. Because he had the
하겠습니다. 국민의회는 애국가 반주에 맞춰 국기에 대한 경례를 하겠습니다. 단상에 위치한 국기를 향해 주시기 바랍니다. 국기에 대하여 경례. 모두 자리에 앉아주시기 바랍니다. 네, 지금부터 다음은 참석 동포를 대표해서 문일용 페어팩스주 교육위원께서 환영 인사를 하겠습니다.
우선 한일 정상회담 직후 곧바로 이어지는 한미 정상회담 준비로 무척 바쁘신 가운데 또 먼 길 오시느라 피곤하실 텐데도 우리 동포들을 먼저 찾아 시간을 내주신 대통령님과 여사님께 깊이 감사드리며 진심으로 환영의 말씀을 드립니다. 저는 51년 전 17살의 고등학생 시절 가족과 함께 미국으로 이민을 왔습니다. 따뜻한 정을 나누는 국민 덕분에 늘 자랑스러운 나라였습니다. 그러나 미국에서 만난 학생들이 한국이 어디에 있는지도 모르고 메이드 인 코리아가 값싼 물건의 상징으로 여겨지는 모습을 보았을 때 받기도 했습니다. 그로부터 반세기가 지난 오늘날 대한민국은 눈부신 성장을 이루어 당당히 선진국의 반열에 올랐습니다. 이제 한국산 제품은 최고 품질의 자부심이 됩니다. 제가 교육위원으로 활동하고 있는 미국 버지니아주 페어팩스 카운티는 전국에서도 손꼽히는 우수학군입니다. 이곳에서는 해외 우수교사를 초빙하는 프로그램을 운영하고 있는데 올해 처음으로 한국 교사들을 초청하였습니다. 전체 30명 중 무려 10명이 한국에서 온 교사일 만큼 그 역량이 높이 평가받고 있습니다. 한인 출신 교육위원으로서 제 어깨가 절로 으쓱해지는 순간이었습니다. 미국에 사는 우리 동포들에게 대한민국은 세월이 아무리 흘러도 결코 잊을 수 없는 조국입니다. 50년 전 이민 온 저 같은 사람이나 이제 막 도착한 새 이민자나 모두 마음속에 조국을 품고 살아갑니다. 그래서 조국이 어려움을 겪으면 우리도 함께 아파하고 조국이
It's an honor to be with President Lee of South Korea. We've known each other and gotten along very well. we have some additional trade because I hear they want to renegotiate the deal, but that's okay. I don't mind that. That doesn't mean they're going to get anything, but I don't mind. But we're going to have some very serious discussions about different things, including trade, where we do a lot of trade with South Korea, as you know. We are thinking about contracting some ships. They build them very well in South Korea. They're also thinking about coming to our country with some shipyards to start us on the process of building ships again. You know, at World War II, we'd build a ship a day. And today we don't build ships anymore, which is ridiculous. We're going to start that again. But we were like you. We were building ships all the time for everybody. And presidents and people allowed that to slip by. And now we buy ships, but we're going to be buying ships from South Korea, but we're also going to have them make ships here with our people, using our people. And we're going to go back into the shipbuilding business again, because really, essentially, we don't build ships anymore, which is ridiculous how that ever happened. But we were the best at it, and you can take a look at World War II in particular, where we were doing virtually a ship a day. And it's hard to believe these were tankers and different kinds of ships, but we were very active. And you see a lot of those shipyards sitting there idle, but they're not so idle anymore. And you're going to come in also, and you're going to be doing a lot of ships in this country, so I look forward to that. But we have a lot of other trade things. They're a big purchaser of our military equipment. We make the best military equipment in the world, and you saw that recently with take a look at what we did with the B-2 bomber, which you have one right there. They gave that to me. I guess the company gave that to me. The B-2 bomber was so successful in what took place in the little excursion that we made, 36 hours, and it wiped out the, nobody's ever seen anything like it. 36 hours back and forth. Not a thing went wrong. Not a screw was missing. Not a bolt was missing. Not a plane had not even a little bit of a problem. And we actually had 52 tankers. We had many planes, but you know, you looked at the B-2, the way they handled that. Every single bomb hit its target. So they understand that we make the best military equipment in the world, and South Korea is a big buyer of military equipment, and we're going to talk about that also. And we have many things to talk about, and I look forward to it, and it's a great honor to be with you, and congratulations on your election. That was a big one, and we're with you 100%. Thank you.
네, 이재명 대통령님 오늘 백악관에 오신 것을 진심으로 환영합니다. 우리 그 양국 정상들 사실 서로 잘 알고 있습니다. 지금까지도 잘 지내고 있습니다. 제가 알기로는 한국 측에서 어떤 추가적인 그런 그 관세 협상에 대해서 좀 관심이 있다고 하는데 괜찮습니다. 뭐 원한다고 다 줄 것은 아니지만 그렇다고 그 요청하는 것은 받아주겠습니다. 오늘 우리는 여러 가지 주제를 다룰 예정입니다. 일단은 먼저 무역에 대해서 얘기를 할 것입니다. 한국은 상당한 많은 그런 무역량을 미국과 함께 하고 있습니다. 그 외에 또 선박 계약, 특히 한국은 조선업이 상당히 그 성공적으로 유지가 되고 있습니다. 그래서 조선소라든지 선박 건조에 대해서 우리는 많은 얘기를 나눌 것입니다. 사실 미국은 제2차 세계대전 때 선박을 하루에 1개씩 건조하는 그런 굉장히 성공적인 선박업을 운영하고 있었습니다. 그런데 이제 미국은 선박이 굉장히 아주 폐쇄한 그런 상황입니다. 하지만 이제 우리가 한국에서 선박을 구매해야 되겠죠. 그렇지만 앞으로 한국과의 협력을 통해서 미국에서 선박이 다시 건조되기를 바라고 있습니다. 그럼으로써 또 미국의 조선업을 한국과 협력해서 부흥하는 그러한 기회를 갖게 되기 바랍니다. 아까도 말씀드렸습니다만 제2차 세계대전 때 미국은 하루에 1개 선박을 건조했습니다. 그렇지만 지금 미국의 조선소는 상당히 황폐해져 있는 상황입니다. 그렇지만 한국이 와서 우리가 함께 재건하기 바랍니다. 또 하나 우리가 의논해야 될 일은 군사장비 구매에 대한 것입니다. 미국은 세계 최고의 군사장비를 만듭니다. B-2 버머 같은 것은 보셨겠지만 굉장히 성공적이었습니다. 이번에 최근에 그런 작전에서 이 B-2 버머가 왕복 36시간을 비행을 했는데 전혀 아무런 문제 없이 임무를 마치고 성공적으로 다시 돌아온 것입니다. 거기에는 또 52개의 탱커도 들어갔습니다. 하지만 어쨌든 그 버머라든지 추격기 최고의 군사장비를 가지고 있습니다. 한국이 이러한 미국의 아주 뛰어난 군사장비를 많이 구매할 것을 기대하고 있습니다. 오늘 다시 한번 이재명 대통령을 백악관에 모시게 된 것을 매우 영광으로 생각합니다. 그리고 그 전에 아주 선거에 이긴 것을 다시 한번 축하드립니다. 감사합니다.
네, 대통령님 감사드립니다. 이렇게 시간을 내주셔서 우리 대한민국 국민을 대표해서 감사 말씀을 드리면서 우리 대통령께서 이 오벌 오피스를 새로 꾸미고 있다는데 정말로 밝고 황금색으로 빛나는 게 정말 보기 좋습니다. 품격이 아주 있어 보이고 미국의 새로운 번영을 상징하는 것 같습니다.
Mr. President, let me begin by thanking you on behalf of the Korean people. I would like to thank you for giving your time for today's meeting. And I heard that you recently redecorated the Oval Office, and I would like to say that it looks very bright and beautiful, and it has the dignity of America, and it symbolizes the new future and prosperity of America.
미국을 다시 위대하게 만드는 것이 우리 대통령님의 꿈인데 미국이 다시 위대하게 변하고 있는 것 같고 그게 다우존스 지수에서도 그게 나타나는 것 같습니다. 제가 보니까 사상 최고치를 경신하고 있던데 오늘은 잠깐 조정되고 있지만 아주 훌륭하게 미국이 다시 위대해지고 있는 것 같습니다.
I believe that making America great again is your goal, and I believe that that is what is currently taking place in America. And I think the most symbolic thing of that is the Dow Jones Index, which reached a record high recently, although it went down a bit, but it reached a record high. And so I think that America is becoming great again.
말씀하신 조선 분야뿐만이 아니라 제조 분야에서 르네상스가 이루어지고 있고 그 과정에서 대한민국도 함께하게 되길 기대합니다.
So I believe that there is a renaissance taking place not only in the shipbuilding sector but also in the manufacturing industry, and I hope that Korea can be a part of that renaissance.
그리고 또 한 가지 제가 꼭 말씀드려야 될 것이 대통령님의 평화를 지키는 기간의 미국의 역할을 넘어서서 새롭게 평화를 만들어가는 피스메이커로서의 역할이 정말로 눈에 띄는 것 같습니다.
And one thing that I wanted to say to you is that America's role not as a keeper of peace, but a maker of peace, is being more is emerging more evidently.
유럽, 아시아, 아프리카, 중동 여러 곳에서의 전쟁들이 이제는 트럼프 대통령님의 역할로 휴전하고 평화가 찾아오고 있습니다.
Many wars in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, and in the Middle East are coming to peace because of the role that you are playing.
세계 지도자 중에 전 세계의 이런 평화 문제에 대통령님처럼 이렇게 관심 가지고 실제로 성과를 낸 경우는 처음으로 보이십니다.
So among the many world leaders, I believe that you are the only leader who has made such accomplishments.
그리고 가급적이면 전 세계에서 유일하게 분단 국가로 남아있는 한반도에도 평화를 좀 만들어 주셔서 김정은과도 만나시고 북한에 트럼프 월드도 하나 지어서 거기서 저도 골프도 칠 수 있게 해주시고 그래서 전 세계가 인정하는 정말 세계사적인 평화의 메이커로서의 역할을 꼭 해주시기를 기대합니다.
And I would like to mention that the only remaining divided nation in the world is the Korean Peninsula, and I would like to ask for your role in establishing peace on the Korean Peninsula. So I look forward to your meeting with Chairman Kim Jong-un and construction of a Trump Tower in North Korea and playing golf at that place.
아마 기다리고 있을 것 같습니다.
다시 한 번만.
기다리고 있을 것 같습니다.
So I believe he will be waiting for you.
그리고 마지막으로 든든한 한미 동맹을 기반으로 대한민국이 성장 발전해 왔고 앞으로도 이 한미 동맹을 군사 분야뿐만이 아니라 경제 분야 또 다른 과학 기술 분야까지 다 확장해서 미래형으로 발전시켰으면 좋겠습니다.
Korea was able to attain economic growth and development through our Ironclad alliance. And going forward, I hope to develop our alliance into a future-oriented alliance that encompasses areas not only limited to security, but also the economy and science and technology.
대한민국 국민들은 트럼프 대통령님에 대해서 정말로 큰 기대를 가지고 있다는 말씀을 드리면서 다시 한번 이런 시간 내주셔서 감사드립니다.
The Korean people have great expectations for you, Mr. President. Thank you once again for your time.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you. I will say that Kim Jong-un and I had a very good relationship, as you remember, and still do. And when I came in, I didn't know him. We had 2 summits, but we became very friendly. respect. It was great respect. And it was not going to be that way had Hillary Clinton won the election. It would have been a disaster. But we think we can do something in that regard with respect to North and South, and I think you are much more prone to doing that than other leaders that I've been working with from South Korea. And we'll work on that. I think it's very good to work on that. If you remember, you were doing the Olympics, and there was a great time of hostility with North Korea, and you weren't selling tickets because nobody wanted to be blown up in the stadium during the opening ceremonies, right? And you were not selling tickets. And I was also at my formative stage with North Korea and Kim Jong-un, and we were a little bit going at it about Rocket Man, Little Rocket Man, everything back and forth, and it was really nasty. And then I got a call one day, and they wanted to get together, they wanted to talk, and we started talking. And then he said really brilliantly, he said, you know, the Olympics is going to be opening very soon, and we'd like to be a part of it. They actually put teams in it. You got along great. And by the way, immediately upon that phone call, you started selling tickets, and it turned out to be a tremendous success. So it went from being empty stadiums because people were afraid to go, because it was a target potentially, to a great success. And I was very proud of that. You had one of the most successful Olympics, and now we have the Olympics coming to the U.S., so we're very happy about that. But that was a great honor to get involved and make the Olympics so successful.
네, 대단히 감사합니다. 다시 한번 모시게 돼서 영광이라고 말씀드리겠습니다. 제가 김정은 위원장과 굉장히 좋은 관계를 가지고 있습니다. 그리고 현재도 매우 좋은 관계가 있습니다. 내가 처음에 취임하고 난 다음에 두 번의 정상회담을 김정은 위원장과 함께 했고 상당히 친해졌고 또 더 중요한 것은 둘 다 존경심을 서로에게 가지고 있다는 것입니다. 만일 힐러리 클린턴이 대통령으로 당선했다면 절대 그러한 상황까지 이루지 않았을 것입니다. 제가 보기에는 이재명 대통령께서 한국의 어느 지도자보다도 북한에 좀 더 문제를 해결하고자 하는 의지가 있는 그러한 대통령이라고 생각합니다. 그래서 어쩌면 우리가 함께 노력한다면 어느 정도 진전이 있을 수도 있겠습니다. 사실 그 한국에서 올림픽이 열렸을 때 북한 때문에 많은 사람들이 올림픽 표를 사지 않는 그런 현상이 생겨났었습니다. 그런데 김정은 위원장이 그때 사실은 김정은 위원장과 초기에는 제가 별로 사이가 좋았던 것은 아닙니다. 서로 라켓맨이라고 부르면서 주고받는 그러한 그 해프닝도 있었습니다. 그런데 어느 날 통화를 시작하게 되었고 통화를 하면서 그가 얘기를 했습니다. 한국에서 올림픽이 곧 열리는데 우리 그 북한도 참가하겠다. 그렇게 얘기를 했습니다. 그리고 그 통화 직후에 올림픽표가 많이 팔리기 시작했습니다. 그리고 한국의 올림픽은 올림픽 역사상 가장 성공적인 올림픽으로 지금 기록되고 있습니다. 또 우리 미국도 곧 올림픽을 주최할 예정입니다. 그래서 우리도 미국에서 성공적인 그런 올림픽을 주최할 계획을 가지고 있습니다.
김정은 위원장 말씀을 하셔서 그런데 사실 대통령님 덕분에 이 북한하고 이 한반도 관계가 매우 안정적이었습니다. 그런데 사실 그 이후 대통령께서 미국 정치에서 약간 물러서 있는 그 사이에 사실은 북한의 미사일도 많이 개발됐고 핵폭탄도 많이 늘어났고 진척된 것 없이 한반도 상황은 정말로 많이 나빠졌죠.
Mr. President, you mentioned about Chairman Kim, and thanks to your efforts when you were in office during your first term, the situation on the Korean Peninsula was stable. But during the hiatus where you were out of office, North Korea developed further its nuclear and missile capabilities, and that led to a deterioration on the situation of the Korean Peninsula.
And they wouldn't have done that. They would not have done that if I were president. That
내가
was not going to
만약에
happen.
대통령이 당선되었다면 그런 일이 일어나지 않았을 것입니다.
전적으로 공감합니다.
I completely agree with you.
그래서 지금 얼마 전에 김여정이 미국과 저를 비난하는 발언을 할 때도 대통령과 김정은 위원장의 특별한 관계에 대해서는 의심하지 않는다 이런 표현을 했습니다. 기다리고 있다는 뜻으로 보여졌습니다.
So when Kim Yo-jong, the deputy director of the Workers' Party of Korea, issued a statement denouncing South Korea, she mentioned about the good relation, the not bad relationship between you and Chairman Kim Jong-un, and I believe that this is a sign that North Korea is waiting.
한반도의 평화의 새 길을 꼭 열어주시기 바랍니다.
So I hope that you will usher in a new era of peace on the Korean Peninsula.
I will do that, and we'll have talks. He'd like to meet with me. He didn't want to meet with Biden because he had no respect for Biden, but we look forward to meeting with him, and we'll make relations better. You'll help that. You had a lot of leaders. I've gone through a lot of leaders in South Korea. You know, it's been quick. You'll be there for a long time. But we, in the various leaders that I've dealt with, they were not approaching it properly, in my opinion, having to do with North Korea. But I think your approach is a much better one.
네, 그렇게 하도록 하겠습니다. 김 위원장이 바이든 전 대통령을 만나고 싶죠 하지는 않았지만 말은 만나고 싶어 할 것 같습니다. 그래서 그런 그 시도를 하겠고요. 내가 한국의 지도자들을 여러 분을 만나봤는데 제 개인적인 생각으로는 대북 정책이 그렇게 적절하지 않지 않았나 하는 생각이 듭니다. 그래서 이 대통령께서 그 적절한 대북 정책을 통해서 좀 더 그 진전이 있었으면 하는 생각입니다.
저의 관여로 남북 관계가 잘 개선되기 쉽지 않은 상태인데 실제로 이 문제를 풀 수 있는 유일한 인물이 트럼프 대통령이십니다.
So resolving this issue through my engagement is not an easy thing. And the only person that can make progress on this issue is you, Mr. President.
대통령께서 피스메이커를 하시면 저는 페이스메이커로 열심히 지원하겠습니다.
So if you become the peacemaker, then I will assist you by being a pacemaker.
That's good. We can do big progress, I think, with North Korea. Absolutely.
네, 북한에 대해서 큰 진전을 함께 이루어 나갈 수 있다고 믿습니다.
감사합니다.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good job. Okay, questions, please?
Mr. President, when you met with Russian President Vladimir Putin, how soon did he say that he wanted to sit down with Ukrainian President Zelensky? Russia, as of now, says there's no meeting on the books and no agenda is set.
Well, that's going to be up to them. It takes two to tango, I always say it. And they should meet, I think, before I have a meeting and probably close the deal. But I think it's appropriate they meet. They do not exactly get along well, as you can understand. And I'm sure it's a meeting that perhaps he didn't like. But he wasn't happy about coming to the United States either. That was a big concession, and I appreciate the fact that he did. You know, I've always had a very good relationship, despite a fake Russia haunt that we had. But we've always had a great relationship, very good relationship, strong relationship with Russia. That's a good thing, not a bad thing, by the way. That's a very good thing. And it's good to get along with Kim Jong-un, and it's good to get along with everybody, including President Lee. It's good to get along, and I get along with the foreign leaders. You see that with the biggest group of foreign leaders that we've ever had. Don't forget the European Union was here also representing a large group of countries just recently. So I believe that we're going to get that war straightened out. We're going to get it done. I don't know that they'll meet. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. They'd like me to be at the meeting. I said, you guys ought to work it out. It's between you. It's not us. Now, in the meantime, we're not spending any money on, as you know, on Ukraine. We're selling military equipment to NATO. NATO now is taking in, excuse me, NATO now is taking in a large amount of money from the countries. They're taking in 5% of GDP versus 2%. They're paying the 5%. They never paid the 2%, most of them or a lot of them. NATO has a lot of money. We are selling military equipment to NATO at full price. And NATO's distributing that equipment to wherever they are. I mean, perhaps to Ukraine. So NATO's working with Ukraine. Biden was giving hundreds of billions of dollars, just willy-nilly, just giving money. He had no idea where it was going. It was terrible what was happening. So we're not involved anymore in terms of the cost. We're in for $350 billion. As you know, I also got the rare earth deal done with Ukraine, which was worth much more than the $350 billion. But I'm not interested in the money so much, even though we've done a great job in that regard. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in stopping a war where last week 7,109 soldiers died, both Russian and Ukraine. It's such a waste of life and humanity. They're not from this country. They're not from any other country other than Ukraine, for the most part, other than Ukraine and Russia. But it's a very important thing to me to stop it. I stopped 7 wars that were raging, one for 31 years, the Congo, and as you know, Rwanda, one for 35 years. I don't have to go into them. You know the list better than I do. But we stopped a lot of wars, including, you think about it, India and Pakistan, which was probably 2 weeks away from being a nuclear war. They were shooting down airplanes all over the place. So I'm very proud of that. I thought this would be, in many ways, the easiest way. I have a very good relationship with Putin. I thought it would be the easiest one to stop, and it's really not. It's very complex. It's very personal from their standpoint. There's tremendous dislike personally between the two men, and we're going to have to straighten that out. But I would like to see them meet first. They'd like me to be there. I may be there. I may not. I'll see. But I wanted them to work out their differences first, because it is ultimately between them. And when that happens, I think we'll get an end.
How soon? Maybe they meet, maybe they don't. How long are you willing to let this play out? And if they don't meet, will there be consequences? And how soon for Russia?
Yeah, there could be very big consequences, but we'll see what happens. There might be very big consequences, because this is something that has to end. This war would have never taken place, and for 4 years it didn't take place. But if I were president, this war would have never taken place. There has not been a war like this since the Second World War. This is the biggest thing that's happened in terms of warfare, wars. It's a whole new form of fighting. It's a drone fighting. It's a drone war. No, a drone war never existed before. And we're actually studying it from the standpoint of Pete Hegseth and everybody. We're studying it and studying it very carefully. This is a whole new form of war, but it's a violent war, and there has been nothing like this since the Second World War. So we'll see what happens over the next week or two, and at that point I'll step in very strongly, and if I have to be there, I'll be there. And we'll either have a deal or we won't. But a lot of people are dying, and I want to get us...
Mr. President, Kim Jong-un wants to meet. When do you want to meet with him?
With who?
You said the North Korean leader wants to meet. How soon would you?
Yeah, we want to have a meeting. I like to have a meeting. I got along great with him. You know, you were there. We even had a press conference. He had his first press conference. Kim Jong-un had a press conference. This was a little different press conference. I said, have you done a press conference before? No. And you know what? He did great. It was a great press conference, actually. It was historic. I doubt he's done one since. But I said, would you like to meet the fake news? Because whatever you want to do. And they came in, like you've never seen anything like it. And then he said, enough. And that was the end of the press conference. That was the end. It ended very rapidly. But I think he had a good time. I look forward to meeting with Kim Jong-un in the appropriate future.
Mr. President, the United States
Will you reduce the number of forces in South Korea so that the United States can have more flexibility in the region?
Say it.
Would you consider reducing the number of U.S. forces in South Korea so that the United States can have more
Well, I don't
flexibility
want to
in the
say
region?
that now, because we've been friends and we're friends. And look, we have a lot of people over there. We have over 40,000 troops in South Korea. As you know, South Korea agreed to pay for that during my last term. And then when Biden came in, they complained to Biden that I wasn't a nice person. And he agreed not to pay. He gave up billions of dollars. We were getting paid billions of dollars. But then Biden ended that for whatever reason. It's unbelievable that he did. But we have a very good relationship militarily. They would say, but we gave you land. I said, no, you didn't. You lease us land. There's a big difference between giving and leasing. And maybe one of the things I'd like to do is ask them to give us ownership of the land where we have the big fort. You know, we spent a lot of money building a fort, and there was a contribution made by South Korea, but I would like to see if we could get rid of the lease and get ownership of the land where we have a massive military base. Okay?
Mr. President, how are you?
Thank you, Mr. President. How are you planning to make? I also want to ask this question to Mr. President.
Who are you with?
I'm Song Mi-jin. I'm from South Korea's Arirang TV.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Good.
So, as mentioned earlier, the United States is South Korea's most important and closest ally. So, in this point of view, I would like to ask you and also President Lee, what do you think are the key ways to make the South Korea-U.S. alliance greater?
Well, I think it's great now. I feel very warmly toward South Korea. I will tell you that I have a lot of people in business that I deal with that are from South Korea. They love Trump because they feel I've saved. I think you would have had a nuclear war if I weren't. I think you would have had a nuclear war, North Korea and South Korea. I think it would have been a disaster. You're only 60 miles away from Seoul. They don't even need nuclear. They have their cannons, you know, howitzers, and they have them buried in the mountain. You know what I'm talking about. And I think you would have had, if I didn't win that election, if Hillary Clinton, crooked Hillary, won that election, I think you would have had a nuclear war. It would have taken place, and it would have been horrendous for everybody, including them. It would have been very bad for them because we would have had to enter the picture, and we are the most powerful nuclear country in the world by